To ensure you are prepared for the biggest change in the PAYE system for 70 years, the Pegasus payroll solutions will be RTI ready in 2013. Businesses need to start checking that the employee data they hold is correct for a successful transition to RTI.
Hello, thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. We will be covering the subject of RTI, looking at the why, what, how and when.
So Steve, can you please tell me a little bit about the existing PAYE scheme?
The PAYE scheme was introduced in 1944 and has been around for some 68 years and remains fundamentally the same. It works well and collects a vast amount of money in tax and national insurance on behalf of HMRC. For instance, in the 2011-2012 tax year, HMRC collected over £230 billion in PAYE income tax and NI. Over the years, it has been extended to collect payments for things such as student loans, CSA deductions from earnings and court fines. For the vast majority of employees, it collects the correct amount of tax and national insurance and gives these employees the correct allowances. However, tax calculations are all based on the employee having the correct tax code.
So why change?
At the end of each tax year, employers send HMRC details of payments and statutory deductions for all of their employees, and this is where the problem lies. The process does not work well, for example, where people have multiple jobs or are employed in seasonal jobs or move between employers frequently. The real problem is that HMRC cannot establish the correct tax code quickly enough, and it's your tax code that determines the tax you have to pay. HMRC will only know what you earned in the previous tax year once all the employers have submitted their end-of-year returns, and it can take weeks, months or even years to get the correct tax code worked out.
Okay, so what's the impact of that?
You can see the scope of the problem with estimates of 5 million taxpayers get a refund or a tax demand following the end of the tax year. 1.4 million low-paid workers overpay tax, and individuals with more than one job often overpay national insurance.
Okay, so why do we need RTI?
The answer is basically to get around some of the problems we've just mentioned, as well as supporting the introduction of the new government's universal credits in 2013. Universal credits will reform the state benefits system by simplifying and streamlining benefits into one payment, whilst reducing fraud and ensuring people receive the benefit payments they're entitled to. RTI will provide the Department of Work and Pensions, DWP, with up-to-date information about a claimant's employment income, enabling them to calculate universal credit payments without the need for the claimant to supply employment or pension income information.
Okay, so what is RTI then?
Employers will be required to send data about PAYE and national insurance, student loans, etc. every time they pay their employees, rather than just once a year with the end-of-year returns. So, the Pegasus payroll software will be used to collect all the necessary information and send it to HMRC online. With RTI, HMRC will be receiving information from each payroll run and will therefore be better able to ensure that the correct deductions are being made from pay. This will mean more employees will pay the right amount of tax and national insurance.
Oh, so it means we will change the way we calculate our PAYE then?
Well, the fundamentals of PAYE are unchanged, such as the use of tax codes and employers deducting tax and national insurance. But what RTI does change is how and when employers and pension providers report this information to HMRC.
Okay, so what do we need to do in order to get ready for RTI?
The system was radically overhauled in 2009 with the introduction of the NI PAYE system, where the 12 regional PAYE databases were merged into one system. In light of this, some major issues were found in the data integrity provided by employers. For example, more than 500 annual employee returns claim to employ another. 800 individuals had the surname of unknown. 40 employees were over the age of 200 years old. The key thing here is that it's not just that HMRC data is incorrect, but that employers are not storing correct information about their employees. This is crucial because once RTI becomes mandatory, HMRC will force those employers to correct their data. And remember that HMRC can apply fines for late or inaccurate submissions. So employers need to ensure that their data is correct.
Correct data? Like what?
You need to make sure that you have the correct employee data such as address and gender, but most importantly, the full employee name, date of birth and NI number. In order to ensure accuracy, you may want to check employee information against official documents such as their passport, birth certificate or HMRC or DWP documentation. Remember also, if you're taking on employees, you need to adhere to the law on preventing illegal working in the UK, which will ensure that you are legally compliant with all the rules issued by the UK Border Agency whilst recording accurate information ready for RTI.
So what happens if I don't have the NI number?
Currently, the employer can go onto the HMRC website and fill out the interactive CA 6855 form on behalf of the employee and post this back to HMRC to issue an NI trace. In the future, HMRC are looking to introduce an online national insurance verification request system. This is designed to speed up NI number checking.
So how do I process RTI then?
There are a number of submissions made online to HMRC. The most frequent will be the full payment submission, FPS. Every time you run your payroll and make payments to your employees, this submission must be sent to HMRC. Therefore, if you process a mixture of weekly and monthly payrolls, you will need to submit the FPS each time you pay your employees, weekly or monthly. HMRC will use this submission to calculate how much PAYE and NIC liability is due for each employee each tax month. If you're a large employer, by that we mean more than 250 employees, before you make your first FPS, you will need to make a one-off Employer Alignment Submission, EAS. EAS is a one-off submission that will be used by HMRC to match and align your company and employee records against the data HMRC hold on their system. Another submission called Employee Payment Summary, EPS, will be used if you need to inform HMRC of any adjustments to your monthly or quarterly PAYE and NIC liability, such as where reclaiming statutory payments like SSP or SMP, for instance. You will also need to submit an EPS when you are informing HMRC of a nil payment.
Right, so what about my current submissions?
The first thing you need to know is under RTI there are no end of year returns, i.e. no P14s, P35s or P38A returns, because this information is already submitted for each payroll run within the RTI file. However, you will need to continue to provide P60s and P11Ds to your employees. Also, in-year submissions such as P45s and P46s are no longer required, as again this information will be part of the RTI submission.
Right, so when does this all start?
Currently, HMRC are planning to implement this as a staged approach. For small to medium employers, i.e. those less than 250 employees, they will have to start their RTI submissions from April 2013. For larger employers, there will be a phased into RTI between June and September, so that all employers will be making RTI submissions by October 2013. Employers will be notified by HMRC 4 to 6 weeks before their start date for their RTI submissions.
Right, so in summary?
RTI will enable HMRC to issue correct tax codes in a timely manner. This will mean more employees will pay the right amount of tax and national insurance within that tax year. It also allows other departments such as DWP to access accurate and up-to-date employee payment information in order to calculate correct benefit payments. All Pegasus payroll solutions will be ready for RTI in 2013. Thank you for taking time to watch this short video. Further information can be found on these reference links, in our RTI guide, and on our website.